I have thoughts about Stopbox.
Go for it.
So Stopbox, um, Stopbox is a what they don't market it as a safe. They market it as a handgun retention device. It is a holster, basically, in the shape of a box that
Mhm.
you have to actuate 3 buttons in order to get into. Now, there are 2 ways that we can think about this. Number one, it's just a trash. It's an absolutely trash safe. Or number two, it's a way to get around safe storage laws if you've got somebody from the state coming into your house. If it's the second one, it's kind of based. If it's the first one, we have videos
Well,
that we'll pull up about how they're not really secure at all. But essentially, what the whole Stopbox thing is a freaking Safariland holster. So, I mean, it's just a more expensive version of a retention holster. So that you can't carry around with you.
right. Now they show specifically on here like a kid not getting into it or something else like that. Now, the way that this works in practice is not particularly good. Now, one thing that you did touch on is storage laws. So, safe storage laws are a nightmare. I used to live in Washington State, and like if you have like a wellness check or something like that called on you maliciously, and I like me for instance, let's say I'm just in my room with like 12 rifles around or something like that, and I have a wellness check called in on me, right? That's a violation of like safe storage laws and whatnot because I got kids running around the house and whatnot. So it is an interesting thing, but yeah. Now, the problem with the Stopbox, though, is that it is not particularly good at what it's supposed to do. So, this is Lockpicking Lawyer. If you're not familiar with this guy, he basically breaks every lock out there. So, we'll go ahead and watch a little bit of this video and give you guys the gist of how this is supposed to work.
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and what I have for you today is a Stopbox. It was sent to me anonymously a few months ago, and I have to admit that I'm not really sure how to evaluate it. It's designed to provide rapid access to a handgun, but the company is very adamant that it is not a safe. They call it a handgun retention device, something akin to a holster. That means it's designed for some form of off body carry, something I personally think is a monumentally bad idea. My view is that a firearm should be in your direct possession or securely locked up. That said, if you look at Stopbox promotional videos, they show it being used as a safe, storing unattended firearms. It's also
And that was what we saw earlier with the child trying to get into it. So, they're kind of advertising it as a safe or something that people cannot get into. So something slightly more than a just a simple retention device, because a holster is a retention device, but anybody can get into a holster. With this, it is they're at least claiming that it's a step above. The problem is that it just doesn't quite work out in function.
used while the owner is sleeping and with children closer to the gun than adults. So, with that in mind, my question is, how would this fare against a curious adolescent? And I don't like the conclusion I reach. Let's put aside for the moment that it's made out of a polycarbonate ABS blend plastic because breaking isn't the fastest way in. You see, it's pretty clear to me that the designer of this product didn't have a background in lock design because we have a product that even children can open in seconds.
Now, another thing about this that I want to say, if I was a robber, if I was a bad person and I see a obvious plastic case staged next to a bed somewhere that like has like very simple locking methodology on it, I'm just going to pick the thing up and walk away with it, right? That's like a target for me basically.
Unless there's holes in the back that it's like mounted to a dresser or something.
Yeah, I know that they do have a cord that you can hook up to it, and if it gets removed without attaching the code, an alarm will go off. But again, if I've already broken into the house, like I'm not sure it matters that much at that point. GB Guns says anyone can get into a holster, well, except for the Secret Service. Too soon? No, that is right on time, right on time. She was having a great time. If she had a stop box, she probably could have put it in the stop box faster. Deskpop says that it is worth noting that they're based in Washington, and this is 100% designed to just cover you on safe storage laws. It's a good product for people with little kids. However, is it, which I think is the problem we're going to find in this video, that it's not actually that good at protecting it from children.
The combination always includes 2 buttons depressed and 2 buttons released. That means there are 6 possible combinations, and we can try them all in just a few seconds. Here they are: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we do that while pushing this button down, the box will open. There we go. Okay, folks, I don't really have any objection to this if it is always in the direct possession of the owner, at least nothing beyond my general dislike of off-body carry. That said, if this will be out of your direct possession, even for a single minute, my opinion is it's inadequate security for a firearm.
Yeah, that would be my take on it too. I would never leave this box unattended in a room and
So-
assume that it's safe somewhere.
Would any of your kids mess with your guns without you being around?
1000%. If I left an unattended
Really?
firearm around, my son is 4 years old. He is amazing. I will turn around and he will have my radios disassembled. He'll have my a holster or my tripod disassembled. He will take. I'm missing parts on this tripod because he sit here fidget with it and he will just take it apart. And he's turning 4 on Saturday. He's not even 4 years old, and he will destroy.
Well,
take
happy
apart
birthday, Bruce.
anything. So if I left this box in a room, he would get it in 10 to 20 minutes. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, okay. My kids would absolutely not do that. I've drilled it into them since they were young enough to old enough to understand what I'm saying, that you don't touch a gun unless I'm with you. And they've never, not once, even thought about touching any of my guns without, an adult being present. I've taken them out shooting before. It's fine. But if I have somebody from the state come over because, my youngest daughter is autistic and she needs to have some help learning how to talk, if they come in the house and I happen to have a gun sitting on the wall, that's a whole problem. So, yeah.
Right. So, but
This
the
is-
problem with this product is that it might work great for Washington state residents. However, they don't only offer it to Washington state residents, right? They marketed this through YouTube channels to a very general audience as kind of like a in between safe storage method. And this is not a firearm. This is just a box, right? So if a kid sees this and he wants to see what you're hiding in a box, he's going to play around with it, right? Unless you teach them to never get into a box as well, which if you can do that, great for you. But yeah, I just don't think that it is a particularly good product. Now, let's check the price on them real fast, because if they're not horribly expensive, I guess that wouldn't bug me that
they're
much.
like $150.
Oh, okay, that killed it right there. Darn it, they're more expensive than I thought they were for a piece of plastic, essentially. Damn.
But they're made in Spokane. So, I mean, it's
That
not
is
like
cool.
you're it's
Yeah.
not like you're getting, Chinese labor shipped over
Mhm.
the US.
Oh,
So-
now are they assembled in the US or is it actual
Yeah,
American?
their whole factories in Spokane.
Make
so-
our products in the USA in our own facility in Spokane, Washington. Okay, so that's what they say. They say it is actually, actually made in Spokane, Washington. Interesting. Now, that's kind of the product. I'm not hot on this product at all. I don't
I'm not
think
hot on it either.
Mhm. I'm not hot on it. I don't think it's useful for me personally. I would either put it in really low tier acceptable or kind of a bad product. And I guess I would only put it in bad product if the end user wasn't aware of where it should be. I think low tier acceptable. I think if you know what it's good for and you're not assuming that this is actually going to replace a safe, I think that it is low tier acceptable. Low tier acceptable. too expensive for me and doesn't do what I want it to do. But again, I don't think it's designed for me, but still acceptable if it's explained properly.